Hi, and welcome to Guy Talk. I'm Guy Gravino. I'm your host for today, and today I have with me Rodney Brown. A little bit about Rodney is that he was a SEAL, and I just learned a tenacious one as well, because he went through buds 3 times, and I don't know anybody that's did that, but I think that's tenacious, and that says a lot about you. He was also an SDV driver. He was also working with Devgru, so he's a SEAL Team 6 guy, and private contracting, and some work with the State Department. Did a little bit of counterterrorism, counterintelligence, FIDOps, human intelligence.
A little of that, yes.
A little human intelligence. And welcome to the show, Rodney.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, man.
Nice
I'm really looking forward to meeting you and talking with you. Tell us a little bit about you. Explain that 3 times, man. How can anybody be that tough?
So, went into Hell Week in class 209. I was supposed to be in 197, got in a little bit of trouble, so orders got canceled. But I came back in 96 and started off with 209. 4 days into Hell Week, I got pneumonia. They, they say you see the sun set on Wednesday and you're golden, you're going to make it through. That's not true. So, got pulled out for pneumonia. I was coughing up pink phlegm or pink froth. Then roll me back. So I start all over again. You start all over, and there's probably 600 guys that start. By the time you class up, probably 100. You go through Hell Week, and it's down to a handful, like 30. So go into Hell Week again with 210. Same thing, except it was Tuesday, Wednesday morning, pneumonia again. They roll me back, start all over, 600 guys, make it all the way to Hell Week. 3rd time in Hell Week, pneumonia again, roll me out. The instructors, they said, wow, you're not going to get to do another Hell Week class up again unless your dad's an officer, and I didn't have any family. I was an officer. So my enlistment was up, so I got out for 2 years and joined the reserves and came back in 2 years later as a reservist. Made it all the way through with 227.
Oh, you had a kind of a roundabout way of doing it.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I got out and got back in too. So go ahead.
Yeah. So that was pretty much it. So made it through 227 the day that I graduated, re-enlisted active duty, and then the rest is history from there.
The rest is history.
And went till 2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So were you an East Coast guy or a West Coast guy?
Primarily West Coast. So I was in Hawaii at SEAL Delivery Vehicle Team 1.
Oh man, that's so terrible. I'm sure that was. So hard.
It was tough.
I'm sure you.
I didn't. I got to spend time there, and diving was. It's cold no matter what kind of water you're in. But we dove a lot, but I didn't get to spend a lot of time there because I was always working. A new guy in the platoon, but senior. I was E5, then E6. So I didn't really get to go. I enjoyed a little bit of Hawaii, but I was working, getting ready for platoons or doing workups for deployment. And then any training that we had was always on the West Coast of California or somewhere else. So as soon as I got to SDV1, as a new guy, there wasn't that many guys that were coming there. So as a brand new guy, at a regular team, you'd have to wait your time and do a year or 2 years, do a deployment. Before they'd give you any cool schools, but they were giving us. I got sniper school right away. After my first platoon, free fall. It was just a lot of. It was a good deal for new guys, but it was hard work. We were there at 3 o'clock in the morning,
right, and going home at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, and it was regular business. It wasn't any different than buds, basically.
So when you were back on active duty, what time period? Was that around 2010? We still?
2009, I went back on active duty February 2000. And before that was 93 to 2000.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking is because and you were hooked up with SOCOR,
Who?
Special Operations Command Korea?
No.
No?
Well, they were there, right, in Hawaii, but
Yeah.
we were part of, I can't remember, but the Naval Special Warfare group.
Well, I mean, but they answered the SOCOR at the time, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Were you with Devgru then?
No,
Okay.
not until 2006.
It's 6.
Yeah.
Okay, well, 2000, you were working with other people then. But in 2010, I was asked, the commander for SOCOR, was a new commander for SOCOR, was Brigadier General Neil Tully.
Okay.
And I was his team sergeant 100 years earlier.
Oh,
and he
okay.
called me and wanted me to come back on active duty, and to this day I regret saying, because I was involved with some business stuff,
Yeah.
and couldn't do it. But I just was thinking, man, if you were hooked up in Hawaii, you know, had the opportunity maybe to call me Command Sergeant Major.
Probably.
But I had to shave and I had to get a haircut and stuff, and Neil was insistent on that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was like,
which
"Oh,
is-
well, never mind. I can't
Yeah,
do that.
yeah. No one wants to shave.
No.
Once you are able to wear a beard.
Yeah, well, mine's all gray now, so nobody wants to see that either. But at the time, it wasn't.
Yeah, mine's turning gray. It won't be long till it's all gray.
Yeah. So you were involved in counterterrorism, counterintelligence.
Yes.
So for the people that don't know about that,
Well,
explain a little bit about it, because you got anti-terror and you got counter-terror. You know, and a lot of people go, well, they're the same thing, but they're not.
yeah. Well, I'll just like how I got to that point. So at SCV-1, I went through an ASOC course and was a basic level, which, you know, just basic collection, making friends and getting information from locals. So we deploy in 2004 to Afghanistan, and there was another team there, and I think it was SEAL Team 8. So our platoon joined them, and because I had some intelligence training and counterintelligence specialties, they like go and build on it. So
Right.
my
Build those relationships.
my chief of the platoon was like, go knock on doors and get yourself embedded with the A team. So I literally walked around, I think it was, I can't remember the CAF, what the name of the base was, but went around knocking on A team guys' doors.
A team, you talking about Green Berets?
Green Beret
No
doors,
kidding.
yes. And
They didn't say, get out of here?
some of them did, they're like, didn't answer the door, like, who is it? And I told them,
not you again.
I'm Petty Officer Brown, or I'm like, who? So eventually one guy answered the door, and I told him my story. I was like, hey, I'm Naval Special Warfare SEAL. I've got some training, and I want to build on that. And he was like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, I want to join your team or go out with you and learn whatever you're doing, learn from
Right.
you.
Cross-pollination.
And he was like, I was like, I'll write your reports for you. And he was like, well, you're writing my reports? All right. So he brought me in and took me under his wing, and we hopped on, the ring flights in Afghanistan. Back then, you could go and jump on any flight without any, orders or anything. Just
Right.
jump on a flight, and it's like a taxi service
Right.
and take you. Flew out to Oregon, no, not Oregon, just right out of Kandahar. And I worked with them while my platoon was working with SEAL Team 8, and they were, kicking doors. Learned from them, and then I went from there to, that was 3rd group, and then 7th came in. Then I hitched a ride, went to Oregon E, and was there with 7th group until my deployment was over, which was, I believe, January of, or 2000, just before Red Wings happened. Those guys replaced us in theater. So, and then 2006 went to Damnick to do Green Team. Didn't make it through Green Team. Everything happens for a reason. But I learned how to.
Well, explain what Green Team is.
So Green Team, you go there, and it's the selection for SEAL Team 6.
Right.
And it's like buds, but not buds. It's more grown up, and they're not teaching you anything. They're
Right.
there to select you.
Right.
That's what they'll tell you. So I wasn't selected because my CQB wasn't up to par with everyone else's. I was doing HUMINT and SDV,
Right.
sniper reconnaissance work. So my CQB was not up to par, but the command master chief was like, we're asking guys to stick around. And I was like, I'll sweep the floors here. Like, I want to stay here that bad. And he was like, okay. And I have like one request though, is I would like to do an ASOT course, Advanced Special Operations course, to up my level of training. And he was like, okay, I think we can do that. And I made it happen. I got orders, went through training for the ASOT, and that was in 2006. And 3 months after went through the course, it's 3 months, a month later when I was back, deployed and was at SEAL Team 6 as the expert for, Advanced Special Operations.
I mean, you are a pit bull on a pork chop, man. I'll tell you what. They try to kick you away, I'm coming back.
Yeah, tenacious.
Yeah, I'd say.
Perseverance. And I love the job. I wanted to say that I want to be at SEAL Team 6 because everything you hear about it is true, pretty much, like how cool it is. And the people there, the level of maturity and the experience is so much higher than in regular teams. And I don't mean to talk bad about regular teams.
No,
but
it's a maturing process.
You have, and they'll give you enough rope where you can hang yourself. I mean, I was driving around Kandahar with just me and my interpreter. And driving, going through checkpoints with. We got stopped by Taliban one time, and going through police checkpoints, and they never knew that I was an American. They thought I was the local.
You probably had a little bit more sun then, and
no, just look about the same. Just dressed like a local from the top down, and didn't speak any English.
Right.
I wouldn't
let
my interpreter talk. We got stopped at a police checkpoint, and they asked us for money to pass through, and then I showed them.
Did that tighten you up a little first couple times?
A couple of times. I was like, "How do we get through this?" He's like, "Relax." My interpreter helped me go through the process, and then I got more comfortable. Where, I'm riding around with other guys or from the Army or somewhere else in the back, and I'm like, "You guys relax. I know how to do this."
Everybody had their guns up through the soft skin. If something goes wrong, we'll just get the body fixed later.
I'm like, no one. We break the same thing every time. No one leaves the vehicle. No one comes in here. And if we have to shoot, if you're going to shoot, let me know the driver, or I'll let you know that I'm gonna shoot someone before it goes off, so nobody's surprised. And and if we get the vehicle breaks down, we're in a firefight, we find another vehicle, and if that doesn't work, we go.
Your immediate action drill.
Yeah, we go to a hard shell, a building, and hold up there until we're rescued, and that was it every time.
One of the things that I worked with some folks after I got back from over there, and they were teaching about, they were all like hanging around the vehicle once they were ambushed. This was in a training situation.
Right, yeah.
And they were hanging around the vehicles when they were ambushed. And, we were always taught, like, get away from those vehicles because that's going to draw, like, the heavy fire.
Yeah.
And did you guys do the same with that?
For cover, like, not for concealment, but for cover, if you're getting shot at, until you can find somewhere else to bound to, stay by the vehicle. But as soon as you can,
you had a ditch or something to provide cover or concealment of some kind.
And then you start to move off target, because they are going to look at that as, like, that's the vehicle we need to attack.
That's an RPG magnet.
Yeah. But you can only do what you can do in the situation like that. So it's like, fight from here, get to another vehicle so we can escape, or find a hard point somewhere and defend ourselves. And, and that saved my life. I'd say, anyone that was ever with me, knock on wood, I don't know, I always felt protected, but no one, when I was on deployment, none of our guys ever got killed. None of the guys that I worked with, which is fortunate. I never had to see that or experience that. So, and it comes back to training.
So when you were over there, you were doing the collection thing?
So talking to locals, collecting.
Through the interpreter?
Through the interpreter.
So when you were going into these were you going into the villages?
Villages, or picking people up.
Okay. And they knew you were an American?
Yeah.
Or at least English speaking?
Yeah, they knew I was American. Like that was already a Oh, they knew, yeah, they were talking to Americans, and that, you know, they were going to give us information, or we were there to make friends with them, see what we could do for them.
Right. You know, I saw, you know, I saw that movie. What was that movie that, where the guy got blown up and his interpreter carried him out, got him out, and he couldn't get out, and he went back.
Jake Gyllenhaal was in it, I think. Was that it?
Who?
Jake Gyllenhaal. Gyllenhaal. I've seen whatever Afghan movie comes out. I can't remember what it is exactly.
The Covenants.
Yes,
the Covenants.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, he went back for that guy.
Yeah.
And on his own.
Yeah, all my interpreters, I always had a good bond with them, because they would save my life and I was going to save their lives. So
right.
If anything, I mean, they would save my life. They knew the language, they knew the location,
right.
people, customs, and all that. So I had a bond. You know, so our guys too, they were, you know, top secret. So they were already cleared. They were good to go. We didn't have to question. But you can only trust them so much. So
right.
You still put trust in them, but you couldn't give them all the, you know, the cards in the deck. But
all somebody's got to do is grab one of their kids or something.
Right. Yeah.
And they can flip
a
them.
family member or something like that.
Right. So cutting fingers off.
It had happened before, and it, you know, it could have happened to me while I was there. But and there was several instances where my interpreter, just through what we discussed, our training, and then what his knowledge helped us get out. I drive in the minivan because I wasn't going to let him drive. We come to an intersection in Kandahar, and I bumped the car in front of us, and the guy gets out, and you know, you train, you lock all your doors whenever you get in. Well, I guess I didn't lock my door that day, so it was a good lesson learned. The guy walked over, pulled my door open, and I grabbed it and shut it and locked it, and then he went around to my interpreter's side. My interpreter always carried an MP5, and he had it under his arm. Well, the guy came up to his door and he just backhanded the guy.
Yeah.
And then the guy walked off and was hands up, and then he pointed the gun at him, and then we drove off.
Right.
But just being able to react like that without overreacting caused us prevented all types of things happening.
Yeah, not overreacting probably a big deal with that. That's for sure.
We got stopped by Taliban one night. We just got through just finished talking to a local, and we're driving a route. We knew the route. We'd done it, I don't know, 100 times. But there was signals along the way that we probably should have turned around. But we're like, no, keep going in case someone's looking for surveillance or whatever. We pass a checkpoint that normally is manned. It wasn't manned, and we're like, oh. We both looked at each other. It's not manned. We have a civilian in the back, and he'd never been. He was just in Kandahar, so we keep driving. Like, oh, that was weird. So we
civilian Afghan?
No, military. So civilian American. In the back, yeah. And he's just getting to the country and learning. We're like, we'll show you around, and it's after dark. So we round this corner, and we were surprised. We were like, we're in it now. Like, there's a group of males in front of us. They have Afghan clothing on, and they have RPGs thrown over their shoulders, and RPKs and AKs. We're like, all right, get ready. We're like, because we didn't know what was going to happen. Our training was, like I said, this is what's happening. No one's coming in. We're not getting out, and we'll talk our way through it. And then I was always would talk to my interpreter. Every question, I would say a couple words in Russian, just basic, hello or something.
Right.
And then that's what he would tell him, like, I'm from up north, Afghan or something. And so we'd stop because, they're stopping us. There's two guys walking away with the, RPG over their shoulder, and he starts questioning my interpreter.
They're pretty big can openers, aren't they?
Yeah. And I'm sitting on the right and driver's side because it's opposite side in Afghanistan, the car that we're in. He's sitting on the left, and luckily there was a canal on my right, so and it was downhill a little bit. So he approached on the left side, and he starts talking to him. And at first his voice is raised. It's like, basically, what are you guys doing here? Right. And my interpreter was like, we're going to a friend's house. We're going to a friend's house. And he's like, what friend? He's like, what does it matter? We're going to a friend's house. You know, we just came from the bazaar. And he's like, voice, and then I'm just reading body language.
Right.
He was upset at first, and then he started lowering his voice, and he was like, he pointed and was like, that way. And then he started walking off, and I was like, what did he say? And my interpreter's like, shh. I was like, what did he say? I already had my pistol ready,
right, yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm thinking the whole time he's there, if he pulls over, if those guys turn around and like they're gonna shoot us or anything, then I'm gonna reach across and shoot the guy in the face.
Sure.
And then in reverse. I'm thinking in reverse, you know, all these things start running through your head. What are you gonna do?
Right.
The worst possible things you think of, but you get locked in. I'm like, if I try and reverse, it was a stick. There's a canal on one side.
Right.
I might dump us in the canal, and then
Right.
we're just hitting targets. If I run them over, that was the other thing. I can run them over, then
You still had those can openers.
still get shot from anyone that's around, and you know, or shoot the guy in the face and try and just drive through them. So the guy basically, it was like, turn your lights out and keep going. And the Taliban would tell you to turn your lights out and keep driving. I don't know why. Well, you can't see, it's dark, but you keep driving. So he started walking away, and my interpreter told me that, and I was like, no, we're not doing that. So put it in reverse, back up slowly, and I was like, oh man. I turned it, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna shoot us.
His broadside.
This is it. And then got faced the right direction and just floored it, and we got out of there and we got on the radio. No one was answering back to us back at the talk. So we were like, holy, like no one knows we're out here, or they knew we were going out, but no one knows that we're here right now.
Exactly where you
And
were.
if something happened,
You're on your own.
yeah, we're on our own.
Lonely feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, the sphincter, right? You talk about that feeling. Yeah, yeah. And luckily we got out of it. I mean, but it could have gone, you know, the other direction, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here today. But the interpreter, his being calm, me not overreacting, shooting the guy. Like I for all I know, that they were Taliban. They were going to
Yeah.
take us, but for some reason they didn't.
Yeah, that's maybe divine intervention.
Yeah, I believe that is why I'm still here as well.
You know, when I worked with Blackwater in Iraq, and we were riding those Mambas, those South African Mambas.
Yeah.
And our job was to get back and forth to the airport and stuff.
Yeah.
And we had a standing rule, you know, there was like 4 different levels of rules of engagement. And we were like on the number 2 one.
Yeah.
So we could get pretty quick with the trigger if we had to. And the guys were all disciplined. They were really good. I was really proud of them. I had a lot to do with their training with it, and I was really proud of them.
And you're running with locals or with Americans?
No, we had mostly Americans.
Okay.
We started using some of the Chileans that were there the second time I was over. They were more support back at the house and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
But they started running with. But the rule of thumb was, you know, if they got an AK, because everybody was carrying them, you know, but if they had an RPG, hit them.
Yeah, they were bad.
Because they're big can openers,
Yeah.
and we're in a big white can that
Yeah.
can't go fast.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you know, and our ROEs with Devgru 6 was not. They were great, right? You didn't have to wait to be shot at to shoot at someone. The threat was there. You thought your life was in danger.
Right.
Then you take out the enemy. But you mentioned Blackwater, and I was just in the teams then. You know, guys were going over making $1,000 a day, 15. And they talked about it.
Don't hate us for it.
No, and we were all, you know, like, oh man, I can't believe it. I would have done the job for free, but thinking about you guys, you know, I was like, that's a lot of money. It started off that way, then it started, you know, getting lower. By the time I was left the service, it was like, you know, $500 a day to do the same thing, and then you get a different quality of person that goes over there. Guys that aren't like us, that aren't from Green Berets, SEALs,
It started to
Rangers.
It started thinning out.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went over the
And it changed company. It wasn't Blackwater. It was
right. It was still Blackwater when I
Triple
was there.
Canopy and other.
Well, that was the Army's version of of Blackwater.
Yeah.
I mean, Blackwater was a SEAL mafia.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they brought me in to help with them, and I don't know why. I had a great time with them, and they all treated me very well.
Yeah, I've known Blackwater guys, Marines, all types have worked for him.
Well, I met Eric.
Quality guys.
I met Eric, and he was with him and Rick Prado in Amman, Jordan, and either they went in a day before me or I went in a day before them. I'm not sure. And so for 2 weeks I was around them in either Amman or in Baghdad.
Okay.
And they treated me real well.
Yeah, I've never met
All
Eric.
of
I've heard about him, and I think I've talked to him on the phone or email or something like that.
Yeah, he was always good to me.
Yeah, I mean, from everything I've heard, no one has ever said anything negative about him.
Everybody I associated with, I mean, everybody had their little heartaches with something. There were knucklehead things going on.
Yeah.
But it happens all the time.
Yeah.
But I thought they did a great job, especially those mamas.
Yeah.
I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, I think it's a necessity. I think that to have that type of contractors, I think it's something that it's useful, it's good, and I think that a lot of things came down, but I think there was jealousy from military side and other contractors that wanted to get in there, other companies that wanted to get in there.
Yeah.
So it's just name calling or pointing out things that have happened that were wrong, and you get the guys that were killed, and it all goes down.
It can get emotional too when you start having people getting killed and stuff. I'll give you a story which is kind of a funny story. In November of '04. Everything was getting crazy in Baghdad specifically.
Yeah.
And we actually shut down operations because we couldn't get back and forth to the airport. It got a little bit, the risk was too high.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit too high.
Yeah.
It was just more than that too. They were like hanging stuff from underneath the overpasses and throwing stuff from the overpass. So we had to get some guys out. So everybody started piling up in the team house, right? And it's not like here where you got a sewer system and everything's flushed out to the street and washed away.
Yeah.
You had to get the trucks in to get them out. And then the water wasn't piped in. So you had to have water trucks come in, fill the cisterns, and then gravity fed down.
Yeah.
And so the house was built for maybe about a dozen of us to live there. It was like 25, 30. It's like, we're getting these guys out of here. So Mill Air was still flying into BIOP. None of the civilian guys were flying, but we were only coming in once a week. So it was like, okay, we're taking them tomorrow. We're going to bring them down. We got them on the manifest. They're getting on the Herky Bird that's coming in, and we're getting you guys out of here. We're getting fresh people in, and then get them back out to where they belong.
Yeah, yeah.
So we go to the airport. Of course, it was a little intense on the ride over, and dropped them off. Went into flight ops. Says, when will these guys be back? I said around 2:30. I said, okay, 14:30, we'll back you. Boom. So I said, come on, guys, we're going to go over to Blackjack's, and we're going to eat, the DFAC, which was a gourmet compared to what we had. And then we're going to go shopping over at Walmart, which is the BX.
Yeah, PX, BX.
So we went over and did that, and went back around 2:00. Walked inside and said, "Is the aircraft back from Amman yet?" And they went, "The aircraft's right there." And I'm looking. I'm trying to. So it's already back. He said, "No, it hasn't left." And it was a 10:00 curfew, so we got a time crunch. And I'm like, so how long does it take for it to get there? And he's like, well, 2 hours. I said, so I'm doing the calculation. So 2 hours to get there, 2 hours to offload, refuel, reload, 2 hours to fly back, 6 hours. So if it left now, it would get back. If it left right now, it would get back around 8:30 or so. And he went, it's about right. So I'm walking outside and I'm calling them on. I was talking to JD and I said, JD, did you lose control of those guys over there yet? Are they already at the airport? He says, no, they're still here. I said, we got a problem. This aircraft hasn't left here yet. And I said, they won't be back until, 8:30, 9:00, if they left right now. He says, oh man, he says, well, I said, can you get them in tomorrow? He said, nope, once a week. Oh man. He goes, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go home and take a nap.
Yeah,
That's what I want to do.
Right.
And so anyway, we ended up waiting for him. The guys were all excited about it. But in comes a guy, a tall, distinguished guy by the name of John. He comes over, his name was John Earl. Now, they came in, they got in around 9 o'clock. We had to get them off that aircraft, load it, and drive back to the green zone from Bayat.
Yeah.
So I jumped up on the back of a truck and I went right into the military thing. Hey, listen up. All you assholes from Blackwater, over here now, get your shit and get over here now. I'm calling off names, right? And put your shit on that truck, get on that truck. Get up, put your shit in that. And I'm trying to make it as quick as possible. And they're all responding, which I was grateful.
Yeah.
And
the sergeant major took over.
The sergeant major took over. And then this tall, distinguished guy comes over and goes, excuse me, are you in charge? You bet your ass I am. And he goes, well, my name's John Earl. And I went, so what does that mean to me, Mr. Earl? And he goes, my name, he says, I'm special envoy or special advisor to Ambassador Negroponte. And I went, oh, well, that does mean something to me. I said, so what can I do for you? He says, I need a ride back to the green zone. And I went, huh. Will you see the ambassador tonight? And he said, I will. I said, well, I'll take you back on one condition. He went, one condition? And I went, yeah, one condition. And he said, what's that? I said, 2 nights ago, one of our guys his brother was killed going out the gate at Abu Ghraib. They lost his body. It took Ambassador Negroponte to get involved to get that body back. So tell him we're grateful. And now we're delivering you and we're even.
Nice.
And he went, I'll tell him. And I said, put your shit on that truck and get your ass over in that truck. So it worked out fine.
Yeah.
We got him back,
Yeah.
and it worked out fine. That's just a little ha-ha story.
Yeah.
And
We had, I would do the same, because I was back and forth to CAF from our base, Mullah Omar's castle. And I would, anyone coming in, I would go and pick them up at CAF, bring them back thin skin. It was easier. You weren't a target, so I would do the same thing, go pick them up. Radio comms before I left, get there, SATCOM radio, I'm here, pick them up, and new people showing up, they don't know what's going on.
right.
Grab your stuff, get in the minivan. They're like, minivan?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Like, that's how we're getting there.
Right. What about the armored vehicles?
Yeah.
They're all taken.
Yeah. we don't go in armored vehicles.
Right.
This is how we travel.
Right. Low profile.
Yeah.
Stay low.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting. So what happened after your military career?
After my military career, I decided I was going through a divorce, and I was like, military career have to be put on hold, or in my mind, and I had a young child that was only 2 at the time. I wouldn't get custody being in the SEAL teams, and then my ex, I didn't want her to get any of my retirement. We'd only been married 3 years at the time.
Right.
So I decided to get out, and I went to work at Fort Bragg. I worked there for a year, and then from Fort Bragg, went to MacDill as a contractor, and worked there for 8 months until our contract was rebid, and for me to stick around, I was going to take a huge pay cut.
Were you a trainer, or were you still doing some?
Still doing intelligence and like advising on intelligence. And one of the reasons for going there, they're like, you're going to deploy to Afghanistan
Right.
while you're here, and use some of your old experiences and training in Afghanistan. Until then, you'll get trained up here and you advise for teams on the ground that are there now. Well, it didn't work that way. I mean, we were in an office, and in Intel office, but they didn't give us anything. So we sat there for 8 months, and I sent out resumes the whole time. So I was sitting there, and it was rebid, and they wanted us to stick around for like a third of what we were getting paid. And at the time, I decided to start my own company.
Oh, good.
So I started my own company, got licenses, PI license, security licenses. and started doing PI work and security work and contracting.
Was that in North Carolina?
I moved from North Carolina to Tampa.
You're already in
at
MacDill.
MacDill at that point. And then when the contract ended, started out in Tampa and then moved the company to Miami. And then started, basically just hooked up or talked to old teammates and people prior to me that were SEALs, and were able to get some contracts for different things. I mean, from training and basic intelligence to surveillance. So did that on the side while I was working on getting my licenses for PI and the security for Florida. And then
was that a difficult process?
No, but it's not. When you apply, nothing is like do that 1, 2, 3, and you can do it. It's convoluted. Like the instructions are not so that you can read them and like used to the military, you read them.
Right.
All right, do this, and then next step is this. It's very confusing. And then if you're going for a security license and a PI license, it's like they don't understand the office of, or that they didn't understand that you're doing security and PI because you can't do 100% of one or the other. You have to say you do 50% of security, 50% of PI work.
Right. Wow, really?
Yeah, and because I had the military background, the PI, I could apply for the license. I applied for it, and security license, it was the same thing. Like because I had a background, they would let me get my license, but I had to take a 3-day course or something like that. The PI license was a little harder. You had to take a 100-question test, and they don't give those all the time. It's once a year.
Or is there material that they give you to study for that test?
It is, and it's all, but it's nothing about PI work. It's all the regulations.
More the law and the regulations.
Regulations on when you can apply, who you can hire. Nothing about actual PI work. Like if you're in doing an investigation on someone and this happens, what do you? Nothing like that. Like scenario based or anything like that.
But you need that credential if you're doing stakeout or something.
Yeah.
And the officer knocks on the window. What are you doing
to show
here?
him that you're not.
If you do this, he'll say goodbye.
Yeah.
If he does this, get out of the car.
And police officers, local law enforcement, they're usually pretty respectful of it. Oh,
Yeah.
you're doing a case, okay. I'll turn my lights off now.
Right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Now that you blew my cover.
Yeah, my cover's blown. Right.
Which probably wasn't good anyway if you're here.
Yeah. Yeah, you always get someone reporting there's a weird car parked on the swell or something like that.
Right.
It happens. You just have to work through it.
Yeah, and there's definitely repercussions if you don't have that credential.
Yeah, I mean stalking, and then you have a firearm on you. We have to get a firearm license from the state of Florida to carry while you're working. You can't just get a concealed weapons permit, and that's going to fly when you're working.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you have to have the G license for Florida, which is a statewide firearms license, and it's separate. And you can get it concealed, but
is that still current with the new laws with the constitutional carry?
Yes, as far as the statewide firearms, you have.
I guess
have
it would
to
because
work.
you're probably a higher probability of using that weapon.
And every year you have to requalify. So every year I have to go and an instructor, someone who's qualified to give me the test. I have to show them that I can hit targets and
What do you
change
put you on
mags.
the 10 meter line?
They'll do it like it's a regular, like if you're qualified in the military, it's pretty decent.
Oh, okay.
There are people that go in and they can't pass it. They don't get the
Really?
minimum. Yeah.
I could never understand why people couldn't pass the military one.
Yeah, me neither. But you get people in there that have never touched a gun until that course, or barely.
Which indicates why you should have people do it all the time.
And if they're security guards, they're applying for their license. PI, concealed weapons, anyone could get that. You take a NRA test, shooting test, and you really only have to fire one round to show that you can fire one round safely and put the gun down or unload it. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's a big liability for the person giving you the test.
I got my concealed carry for the state of Florida. I had it for Delaware and Pennsylvania, which gave me a lot of states. Mm-hmm. When I moved down here, I got it for Florida, and I went in, and your prior military. Okay, we see,
Yeah.
your information here and all. And it was like, well, all you got to do is get a picture, send us some money, fill out
Yeah.
this form.
Yeah.
And it was like, thank God I was smart enough to go and read the laws.
Yeah.
I wasn't concerned about handling that weapon
Right.
as I was about the rules of when to engage or where you could bring that weapon. For instance, not that I do it, but going into a bar
Yeah.
with a weapon, you couldn't do it then.
Not unless they 50%. I think
You got to
they
have
serve
more food.
Food there than
Right,
or
than
70% food
Right.
than booze. You can't go into a liquor store. You're not supposed to.
I mean,
with one.
if I had a gun on me and inadvertently ended up in a bar, I would go over to the bartender and say, non-alcoholic beers. and okay, well, why don't you just order? Because these guys won't accept that. So I don't want the argument.
Yeah.
I don't want to explain things.
Yeah.
Non-alcoholic, just pour it in a glass and
Yeah.
bring it over. And he went, okay, all right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the other thing is, if you need it in a bar, or it's better to have it and not need it.
Right.
Right. But you don't want someone that has a concealed weapons permit that goes in there and they cause a problem, and then they
Right.
shoot someone. Right. And that's a problem, or that is a problem with concealed weapons. Now it's open carry, right? You can
Right.
carry. But anyone.
It's constitutional carry, and I think that includes open.
Yeah, I think so. So I mean, Starbucks. Well, not. I mean, they won't let you. They're not. They say that no guns allowed, but you can walk around with it, on your hip or something.
I think if they post, no weapons, I don't think you're supposed to.
You're not supposed to.
Right.
I think. I mean, they could.
And
they're going to
I
throw
would
you
respect
out
that.
probably, but yeah.
I wouldn't wear it on my hip and go in and in
No.
your face.
No.
But if it was like concealed and it was decent, chances are, if I could get back to my car and secure it, I probably would do it.
Yeah.
But if I couldn't, then maybe I wouldn't go in.
Yeah.
Maybe I would take the chance, depending
Right.
on what the situation
Yeah,
was.
legally, that's what you should do. And then, but you leave it in your car, and then someone breaks into your car and steals it, right?
Yeah.
So, but you run into with just getting a concealed weapons permit, no training. They've seen you fire one round. That's where you run into the Zimmermans and the other incident where the guy shot up a car full of teenagers because they were playing loud music, right? Like, they don't know when to use it.
Right.
And I've been in a road rage incident where a guy, he was pissed off at me, and I stop at a red light and he comes walking towards my car, and I saw him coming. I knew what we were just in, and I rolled down my window and had my gun ready.
Yeah.
And I just told him, don't approach my car, and I didn't flash a weapon, and he realized what was going on. He threw his hands up, turned around, and walked off. But if he would have,
Thank God he was intelligent enough to do that.
yeah, if he would have kept coming to my car, I would have held off. If any reaching inside my car, then in
Yeah.
fear for my life, I'm going to shoot him. Or if he would have had a gun approaching my
Yeah.
car, I probably would have pulled the trigger at that point.
Yeah,
But-
there's no question at that.
But those are the checklists you got to run through
Yeah.
mentally before you use a weapon.
And you got to, a lot of people don't think that through before, and that's a bad mistake.
And then something happens, and they're
I
they're
was-
thrown out of their element, and they don't know what to do.
I would teach active shooter training,
Yeah,
and I would use like a Homeland Security video of a guy going into a public place, and he just looked like a little badass, you know, shaved head, angry looking, black shirt, black
Yeah.
pants, black backpack, and he comes in, he pulls out a shotgun, sawed-off shotgun, and boom, boom, and you're seeing people, they stop, and I thought it was a good training opportunity, because they stopped and you could see them trying to process
Yeah.
what was going on, and I would use that and tell them, look, most people aren't mentally prepared to see that.
right. They're not.
But what they're doing right now is they're going, what the hell did I just see?
Yeah.
And so I ran it back, and I said, let's do it again. So we started again, and there was one guy, after like the third shot, you saw him start to turn and run,
Yeah.
and the guy shot him in the back with a sawed-off close range. So he was hamburger.
Yeah.
And I said, if that guy could have processed that quicker, now it was a training film,
Right.
But I said, but if he could have processed that quicker, let's go. So he pulls out the shotgun, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we got to like 6.
Yeah.
I said, he was 15 feet maybe away. How fast can you close that distance with his back turned and knock him over?
Right. Yeah.
And I would teach that, they always say run, hide, fight.
Right.
I said, unless you get the opportunity to fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And oh, by the way, I mean, that's a devastating weapon at close range.
Yeah.
But if it's a handgun or even a rifle, but a handgun, I said, most gunshots, 90%, unless you're hitting the head, they'll save you within that first hour.
Yeah.
You might not be walking right.
Right. Yeah.
But it's better than getting shot in the back running.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got to think that through.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they've done studies too. If someone comes in that door or any door, by the time they can pull up the gun, you could be there before they get it. If you realize fast enough and attack them or tackle them before they can pull off a shot.
And you think somebody starts charging, you're going, the first thing you're doing is like, what?
Yeah.
And by then they're on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reaction time for pulling a gun up and shooting is much slower than if you realize what's going on to run it and attack.
Right. A lot of times when I was traveling, I used to leave right here on the headboard and lay in bed. Put it back. Put it back. Okay, I know where it is. I came home from work one day. I was exhausted, still in uniform, laid in bed. All of a sudden I hear, Guy. Remember cocking my head halfway here, Guy, I'm down home, yeah, come on up. And he goes, it's Gene. I went, Gene? He went, yeah. And I went, come on up. And he came up the steps, I turned the light on, and I put the gun there. I said, what's up, buddy? He said, you all right? I went, I'm fine, why? He goes, you came home, you left the door open, and everybody's been staying outside for 30 minutes wondering who's going to come in and see if you're all right. And I went, I'm fine, man, thanks. Thanks for calling out, man, because I would have shot you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Thanks for calling out.
I was in an incident in Nashville, Tennessee, walking into a bar there, and I was with a couple people, and in my mind is always like, where's the threat? Well, there was a car parked, like a Escalade or something like that, SUV, doors open, music's playing loud. The person I was with, they start bantering with the person that owns the cars, like turn your music down.
Right.
They start arguing. Someone in the guy's group must have turned the music down, and the guy, it was like, who just turned my music down? And he's like, who, yelling at us, and he's like, oh, I'll fix this. So he starts walking to his car. Well, I ran behind him, and in my mind, it wasn't going to be a gun. It was going to be a cell phone. I'm going to call the police. Someone was inside the vehicle, but this guy was not the person to call the police. He turned around and had a pistol, and where I was at, I didn't reach across. I grabbed it with my right hand, so it's awkward. If I had to do it again, I would have done it different. But I grabbed it and holding his wrist. And I'm like, all right, we're going to wrestle over this, but he's not going to shoot me. Well, he turns his wrist down like this and rounds are going off.
Oh, he's shooting at you.
He's shooting at you.
So he's got intent.
Yeah. And so then I'm like, this is real now. Like, someone's going to die. So we're wrestling around with it, and I was able to release the magazine, but I wanted to hold on to the gun. I didn't know if he could reload.
Right.
Well, we're wrestling. He wrestles his way back to the inside his vehicle. And he's reaching with his other hand to try and get in the console. And I'm sure there's a magazine in there. So at that point, my fingers I put one in his eye, and my pinky slides across his mouth, and he bites it. And it felt like it was gone. I thought he bit my pinky off. So I'm pulling his eye out, I'm just, every time he's fighting, I'm pulling a little deeper. And I'm not thinking just, maim the guy, but I should have been thinking more maim the guy.
Yeah, pull his eyeball out.
Yeah, pull it out. Someone grabbed me from behind, and I land, my feet in the air, and like on the ground. I guess it was someone that was with him. They jump in the car, try to run over us, and take off. We're like, we call the police. It's like 10 minutes later, the police show up, and all the adrenaline is happening. And I look at my shirt, and I'm like, oh. And I thought, you know, the guy, whoever pulled me out, they ripped my shirt.
Bastards.
The guy that started the incident, he walks over. He's like, let me look at it. He's like, you've been shot. So he's like, take your shirt off. So I took my shirt off, and I've been shot right across.
Oh boy.
Right across there. Only
Grazing.
Flesh wound. Like
close enough.
Close enough. And across the top of my head.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But if I wouldn't have run, the guy would have pistol whipped us or killed all of us.
Right.
If I hadn't.
If you didn't move close
but
contact.
my mind wasn't in that threat that it was going to happen.
Right.
And it's still, until I got there and saw his pistol, I was still, oh, you know, he's going to call the police, or, you know, it's
That
gonna
was
be
in
something.
the United States.
Yeah, Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville. Well, there you go. Nashville.
Yeah. But I never got shot in Afghanistan or anywhere we went. But you come home and you get shot in the U.S.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and it happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
People aren't overseas. You're always thinking about threats, and you have people that are watching. You get to the U.S. and you're not.
You kind of let that guard down.
Yeah,
a
you
little
let
bit.
the guard down.
Wow.
And it's, I mean, you can't have the guard up all the time, but our minds are built that way now. Like
Right.
we are running through it all the time.
You walk in, like you were saying earlier, you walk into a place, you know, you want to be able to see that door. Where's my exits?
Yeah.
You know, who's the friendly, who's not a friendly.
My back's never to the
Right.
door. And everyone knows that I'm with. If they're
Right.
not like us, they, you know, no one sits. I don't sit with my back to the door.
There have been times where I've gone into a place where my back was to the door. I can't sit there. I got to sit there.
Yeah.
You got to move.
Unless I trust the person across me, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, you got my back, right?
You're laughing too much. I got to see the door. Well, I got to tell you, Rodney, great conversation. I'm so glad you came. And,
Thank you.
And I got to tell you, you're probably the most tenacious guy I've ever met, man. I'm serious, and I say that with much respect.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Because to go through that 3 times, you obviously knew what you wanted to do. And
Yeah.
there was nothing going to stop you.
Yeah, and after, you know, the first part of it, I already knew that from doing it 3 times before, so that was the easy part. Once I made it Thursday Hell Week, that was new ground for me, so
Wow.
I was learning new stuff from there. But
Well, like when I was telling Marty that, he said, you know, he was selling that information to people on the outside.
well, yeah, yeah, a little bit.
Thanks so much for coming,
Thank
man.
you, guy. I appreciate it.
And if you have any comments on the show, please send them to podfinitynation.net and or Guy Talk Show on Facebook. If you have any suggestions on who you'd like to hear from or see, please let me know. Thanks. Until next time.